We got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, are we live?
I believe so.
All right. Well, welcome back to the BDSM podcast. It is the Booze Dessert Smoking Meats, and I am Professor Porkborn, and I'm here with my awesome co-host.
The Meat Viking, and I'm here for a shucking good time.
If that's a hint as to what state that we are getting back into. We had a little bit of a delay because of the holidays, and there was a whole bunch of other shit that went kind of down. So, listeners, our apologies for not being around for the last couple of weeks, but we are back in action, and we are back to the Midwest, man.
Mm-hmm.
We are looking at Nebraska. Now, I was told from people who have traveled through Nebraska, I myself haven't been there yet, but they said, don't ever go to Nebraska because it's all just fucking cornfields.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
far
like,
as the eye can see.
you've lived that too, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it can't be that bad for us.
Yeah, probably not.
So,
But
I do agree with you. I don't know if I've ever known anybody from Nebraska. I'm pretty sure there's like some genetic mutation that happens in corn, and that's how their population becomes human.
yeah, so we are hitting to the Midwest, and who knew? But you know what? We're into the end now, man. So aren't we probably like halfway through?
I want to say we're halfway.
We're halfway.
Mm-hmm.
There's a song about that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Bon Jovi would say we're living on a prayer.
Yeah, man. So well, cool. So let's figure out what's in your cup. You got anything at all?
I do. My one buddy had been raving about this meadery for a long time,
Oh
and
man.
it is the Four Fires meadery. But
Oh man, I wanted to go there.
he's like, what you need to do though is you got to go to Holloway Beverage and buy the growlers there because they're cheaper than buying them directly from the meadery. It's like they might not always have the flavor you want, but for like $45, I got a 64-ounce thing of mead, and I can bring the growler back and refill it up and save like $6 a purchase. It's so great. So I am drinking from the Four Fires Meadery. It's called their Mass Appeal, and it's like a triple berry blend. It's actually really good.
Well, when we get to the old OH state, we will talk more about that because I had friends that they were coming down from up that way, and I was like, dude, if you can get this stuff, let me know because I know they have a new one, and they stopped off at a liquor store, and I guess it wasn't at that particular liquor store, so
Yeah.
Man, that shit will fuck you up too. I'm sure it's probably a decent amount.
I think it's only 7%, but the problem I have with it is, maybe way, way back in your childhood for like New Year's, you would get that like sparkling grape wine.
Yes.
Yep. It goes down about as smooth as that. And so you really don't feel like you're drinking anything until you have to stand up, and then you don't feel your feet no more.
Oh yeah, that's usually what happens. I have that problem with the stuff that I brew at my house. In fact, I actually opened up some strawberry stuff that I made back in September. So
Oh,
it still needs to sit for a little bit longer, but man, it tastes like strawberry juice.
oh Lord.
So, and it's like 14.5%. So, yeah, it's one of that same problem where you're like, oh man, I should probably stop this because I'm not going to be able to feel my face.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, good for you on having that. Next time I get up that way, I really would like to check that place out.
Yeah, just let me know. Because
I mean,
I would like to go as well. Because like I said, I got this from a liquor store that has it on tap
yeah,
instead of going to the brewery themselves. But it's also relatively close. So
yeah, I don't know the next time I'm going to get up that way, but I will certainly let you know when I'm that way so you can take off of work.
oh yeah.
But as for me, I have one of the uh, old classics here in the great state of Texas, and that is the Shiner Buck.
Ooh, okay.
So nothing's finer than a Shiner. I wound up getting the 12 pack of this bad boy in cans the other day because we had some people over, and I was like, shit, need to finish this stuff up. So
Yep.
light, smooth, can't go wrong whenever you got a shiner.
That's true. Not
So
sponsored, by the way.
yeah, not sponsored, but man, if you want to sponsor, I will say everything I need to know about Shiner
Yep.
if you'd like. So anybody listening and have connections, go ahead, give
Yeah.
me a ring or give us a contact, and we will plug the shit out of Shiner Box to everyone that listens.
Yep. All 5 of you and 500 robots.
Hey man, we don't know who those robots are in Iowa, but you know what? Keep on looking.
Yep.
I think the last time I saw, and it's probably even way more than that now, but we were at 1,300, I think.
Let me see if I can pull up the old numbers real quick. Shame is I'm pretty sure YouTube actually cracked down on the old sexual robots, and so there goes like 3/4 of our view count. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
we're at 2K now. Holy
Yep.
shit.
2K. 2K and 1 like. And you know what? I'll take it because it's still 100% like ratio.
Exactly. And
Oh, YouTube.
I think the next closest one is still Louisiana, isn't it? With 107 views.
I thought Father's Day hit around like 200 at one point, and I don't know why those views disappeared.
Oh, I don't know.
Because I
Maybe
was
YouTube's
trying to,
cracking down on shit.
yeah, I was trying to go through like the analytics and stuff like that. Um, and I have no idea. So, because like according to analytics, we got almost 1,000 views in the last 28 days, which that just doesn't happen.
1,000. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay, that's got to be all from Iowa.
Yeah. So,
But well, moving along then. So what was the safe word that we decided on today?
uh, Husk.
Husk.
Yes.
You are correct because we are talking about the Cornhusker State.
Mm-hmm.
And again, never been there, but when I get there, I'm going to try some of these things. But I think we need to start off on one of the more important uh, things that came out of Nebraska.
Yep.
And everyone has a story, or everyone has had this part in the country. And it's cool that it was made in there. And that's Kool-Aid.
Yep. I want to say everybody's probably had this before.
And if you haven't, then I don't know what rock that you were living underneath.
Yeah.
But
Go and spend like 50 cents and give yourself a cavity with some Kool-Aid.
yeah, it's straight up freaking sugar. But what I didn't know, and I think this is actually kind of cool, is that the dude that invented it, Edwin Perkins, we did our research here, and
Mm-hmm.
he was super excited about this new powdered dessert, and it was called Jello, and and he actually persuaded his dad to carry that in the store, and he became so interested in selling it, especially directly from to the customers instead of behind a counter, that he wound up doing a bunch of other things with it, and he actually had his own business later on. But he got that food flavoring and all that stuff from Jello, and he produced this stuff called Fruit Smack, and it was basically a drink concentrate and a bunch of different flavors. And then all you had to do was just put water in it, and he went door to door and sold that crap. So I'm kind of curious to know what he sold it for back in the 20s, because it was invented in 1927. Um, and he basically, like, because you can get that shit for like 15 cents in the grocery store, can't you?
I'm trying to see. Uh,
Oh, I found it, man. He sold it for 10 cents per packet.
that's like not even affected by inflation anymore. So I'm trying to see. You can get 96 packets. Okay, so inflation's hit this a little bit. Uh, from Walmart for $46.23. But I'm also seeing like crazy prices everywhere and in different varieties. Like here, one pack on Amazon going for $21.69, but another pack going for $1.39. So
Who knows about
yeah.
that?
Oh, here's one. 25 cents, which I would assume is more accurate to the price you're gonna get for one pack of Kool-Aid at a local store.
Yes, probably.
So
But so what I find really interesting about this, and I looked a little bit more, is this fruit smack. Okay, that was the original part of it, and he had it in glass bottles. And essentially, what he did is the bottles became too heavy and they were too easily broken, and a lot of times they leaked when he was going from door to door to try to sell this stuff. So what he did is he actually removed all of the liquid from his fruit smack, and he just had powder that could be packaged in these envelopes, and then he wound up rebranding it. And he printed all the stuff himself and whatnot, and he gave the name Kool-Aid. So it was spelled Koolade, and then he later changed it to the AID. And then all you had to do was just put water in it. You got yourself some sugary beverages.
nice.
So I have to ask you now, what was your favorite flavor of Kool-Aid?
I really liked the green flavor Kool-Aid, and I can't remember for the life of me because there's a couple of green ones now. If this was like a lime flavored or if it was the strawberry kiwi,
Probably the
because
lemon lime.
I think it was the lemon lime.
Yeah, I think they probably have tons of other flavors now, but I think they only had like 5 original flavors. And
Yeah.
I remember strawberry, I
Mm-hmm.
remember grape, cherry, and orange, and then they had the lemon lime. So that's what, 4?
Yeah. So it's probably the lemon lime.
Yeah, but I mean they got tons of other ones now. But I always remember the strawberry. That was my favorite as a kid. And I remember having the cherry, but I'm not a big fan of cherry stuff, especially with the artificial flavoring.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not my favorite, but I mean, if it was the only thing available, obviously you'd drink it.
Right.
But do you remember those kids? And you might have even been one of them too. You know, you chug that shit down, and you wind up getting the red lips
Yep.
from drinking all the damn juice.
Yep. Yep. And then you like, as little kids do, you stick your tongue out to see what color your tongue is to your friends.
Yes, and
Yep.
it would be freaking like beet red.
Yep. I remember vividly.
So
No, I might have to pick up some Kool-Aid next time I go get groceries, just for nostalgia's sake.
I mean, it's not gonna break the bank for a quarter, dude. You could probably find that in your car seat.
I don't know, dude. That's gonna mess with my ramen noodle budget.
How much are ramen noodles these days?
Probably the same price as a pack of Kool-Aid.
Yeah. No, I think they've got to be what, like 50 cents or something. I don't know. I haven't bought ramen noodles in a hot minute.
You're missing out.
I mean, they're always good on a cold day, but man,
Yep.
it's been like 80, 70 degrees up this way. So,
I had a pack of ramen noodles not even that long ago because it was so cold out one day, and I picked up these noodles, and it was spicy, is what it said, and I'm like, no big deal. Like I like spicy things, and when you go through and you eat your ramen noodles, I don't know about you, but I always drink the broth at the end.
yeah.
Dude, like I had to like sip the broth, set it down, walk away, come back, sip the broth, set it down, walk away. Like I was cold when I started eating that, and then I was almost overheating by the time I finished. I was like, let me go sit down in the snow outside and enjoy my ramen.
All
So,
right. Well, there's another part of this whole Kool-Aid thing that I feel like we kind of have to touch on too, man. And it's the mascot, right?
yeah,
Which
yep.
is
The Kool-Aid
oh
Man.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the Kool-Aid Man, like, dude, I mean, talk about a freaking great marketing thing from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the Kool-Aid Man was actually originally called the Pitcher Man
Which
in the
makes sense
50s.
because he's
Yeah, he's in the pitcher.
yeah.
And then it wasn't until I think the 70s is when they added the arm and legs to him and made him like a man. And and he had cherry Kool-Aid as the inside.
Yep.
So
Apparently, if you really wanted to go down this rabbit hole, and relive some like sweet '90s TV, you could Google Kool-Aid Man commercials on YouTube, and it'll have some reels of them, which is kind of interesting. So, but apparently his first appearance was July 10th of 1954 while he was still in prototype form, and July 26th of 1974 is when he got his arms and legs. So,
yeah,
18 years later, no, 20 years later. So,
but so you got to wonder though, if you empty him out and like put him in a different thing, is he still like, it's still Kool-Aid? Is he still alive? Is it like, hey, I'm knocking into whatever and you spill some of that out? Is that a problem? Is he gonna die?
yeah, maybe it's like blood loss. I mean, like, that's my only logical explanation here. So,
Well, he used to pour some of his stuff, if I remember correctly, in old commercials.
he
He would actually pour himself out into some glasses.
it's like donating blood at that point, I guess.
But what about him breaking through the fucking doors and stuff and whatnot and being like, oh yeah, like there's got to be part of him where that just leaks out.
I mean, like, I see what you're saying, but I've ran through a wall before, and like, yeah, I got a little cut up and scraped. So he just has higher tempered glass than what I have. He's
Yeah,
okay,
there you go.
you know.
But
Although I will say, in some of these cartoons, it looks like, which makes sense because you got to have your arms flexible and stuff. Like, I can't even word this. It looks like his arms and legs are cheaply made, but the picture holding the Kool-Aid is like has more time put into it. Is the best way I can describe it.
yeah,
So,
all right. Well, I mean, either way, the Kool-Aid Man is crazy, and they've actually had comic books, and there was some Atari video games back in the '80s, and Kool-Aid Man had some pretty good pop culture icon status, and I still think he does, because you
oh yeah,
talk to anybody from the '80s, '90s, and I might even to say early 2000s, and just show them a picture of this dude, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's Kool-Aid." Like, I don't even think you need to have Kool-Aid underneath it. You can just show a picture of him,
right.
and they know that it's Kool-Aid.
You're not wrong. I did
But
not know that Kool-Aid Man had an Atari game.
yeah,
Hmm.
which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I
And
remember Seven Up having a game on the Sega.
I remember Seven Up.
Yep.
Make Seven Up yours. That was probably one of my favorite slogans.
Oh, it still holds up to this day. Apparently, there's a Kool-Aid Man with a gun.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
Here, I gotta screen share this because it's like perfect. Da, da,
While you're doing that, apparently in Canada, he was known as Captain Kool-Aid.
Captain Kool-Aid.
Leave it up to the Canadians to fuck it. What the hell with the AK-47? Jesus, man, Kool-Aid, you wild.
I'm just saying, like Kool-Aid Man. Kool-Aid Man seen some shit.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Kool-Aid was from Nebraska. I guess
Uh,
it's now headquartered in Illinois, but
Here's
originally from Nebraska.
another good one that's less violent. I don't know if you can
What
read
would
that one.
Kool-Aid Man do?
Yeah,
Yes.
WWKMD. Here we go. Look, it proves. Oh, you son of a! I'm just saying, it proves my point.
I'm actually filled with blood.
It's what I just said. So, oh, Kool-Aid Man. I think we need to move on though before we spend an hour talking about Kool-Aid Man.
Hey, man, we could just make it a part two, right?
On it, we might have to because Kool-Aid Man took quite a chunk of time.
But that's what the people want to hear. And you
I
know
think
what?
you're
We
not
have
wrong.
had we have had such a personal experience with Kool-Aid that I don't think anybody else would care to listen to us jabble on about it. So
Yep. Kool-Aid definitely affected my life. Ah,
well, what do you want to move on to the next one then?
so apparently there is a dressing company, a salad dressing, stuff like that, that is from Nebraska that I have never seen before. And that is the Dorothy Lynch brand of salad dressing and stuff.
I did
Now, have
see
you ever
that.
seen that?
I have never come across that, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. So maybe it's just a Nebraska thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dorothy Lynch, there's like home style dressing.
And it looks like it's like a French style or a Russian style dressing, which is my favorite, but I know it's not for everybody. Um, but if you look at like the Dorothy Lynch website, she's got quite a bunch of stuff you can do. You can do like a guacamole, a Thailand pasta chicken or Thailand pasta salad, grilled shrimp and pepper skewers, game day chicken chili, and even a pizza recipe.
Hmm.
So,
Well, from what I'm seeing is that it is a French style dressing, but it's not a French dressing because French dressing is oil based
mm-hmm.
and Dorothy Lynch's stuff is actually tomato based. So
Oh, nice.
a little bit of a different there, but it still has that reddish orange that resembles that French dressing.
Yeah.
But I guess there's other things like celery seed and some other flavorings that are in there.
Mm-hmm.
So um, I'm kind of curious to know about how this really came about because it was in the 50s, I guess, or no, 40s.
Right.
I guess it was at some Legion club that her husband wound up running, and she just had this dressing created, and just said, "Hey, I'm gonna put this in all the stuff," and everybody loved it.
Yep.
And they said, "Hey, you should probably bottle this," and then boom, look at that. She had a dressing for people to enjoy.
Yep.
So it really isn't that bad, to be honest with you. Hey, I'm gonna make this shit in my own kitchen, and I'm gonna serve it to the people at my husband's club, and then they love it so much that you're like, I'm gonna make a business out of this.
That's crazy. And it's like in all sorts of things too that they recommend trying this stuff on. I see muffins, I see brownies. I saw
Muffins? What the fuck? What kind of muffins are they?
it says mix eggs, mix the Dorothy Lynch home style and sugar together, and then you just basically make it like regular muffins.
Okay, I can see something like that then. I thought you were talking about like a regular muffin and just dumping that shit on top of it because
Well,
that
that's kind
sounds
of what they
gross.
did with the pancakes because it's like make your pancakes like you normally would and then add. So I actually get this correct here because I don't like being wrong when it comes to pancakes. Um, yeah, cook pancakes to order, add a pat of butter, and cover with warm Dorothy Lynch like syrup. That's what it says.
Man, I just don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know about this one either. Okay.
Yeah, because if I'm thinking of like a similar French style dressing, like I don't want that shit on my pancakes.
Right.
Like I want syrup
Mm-hmm.
or like blueberries or some type of that shit. Like I want French on my salad dressing or I want it on my ribs or a dipping sauce maybe for French fries.
Yep.
But I just don't see that going on muffins or fucking pancakes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because I'm seeing here, like even the website says, "Hey, sweet, spicy, easy to love, and it's a condiment that you can do in two different ways, either home style or the light and lean." Which I'm kind of curious to know what the difference between those are in the flavor. Like light and lean's probably like more, uh, you know, natural additive flavoring. But it says use it as a marinade, barbecue, side dishes, dipping sauces, and more. So I just don't see you going from barbecue to pancakes. You know,
I don't know, man. I
Nebraska, you people are crazy.
mm-hmm.
It's just like one of the previous episodes when we were talking about like why the hell would you do shit like that?
Yep. Now, I will say though, if we go from there and we go to our next thing, where did you go? Oh Jesus, wrong one. All right, the Stromer, the Old Stromer Sandwich.
Yeah,
Yeah, this I can
I
get behind.
think I can get behind that one too.
Mm-hmm. So you can get this at the Barrel Bar in Hastings, Nebraska. And the way they kind of came about this dish is they wanted to fit as much ground beef onto a plate as possible. And so they created the Stromer. And it is a mainstay at the Barrel as long as anyone can remember. And it's really just a cheese charburger covered in chili, served open faced with a sliced onion on a single bun. It's like a chili cheese dog, except with more hamburger and way better. So you can actually get a Polish version of this too. And instead of using ground beef, they use Polish sausage.
I kind of want to taste both of those.
Yep.
You know, like I like Polish sausage and I like ground beef, and I mean chili is always a good thing. So it's you know what? It's probably one of those great things to eat when it's super cold outside.
And Nebraska does get super cold.
And yeah, I can only assume that Nebraska gets cold as shit.
Yep.
Which, side note, why is that even a saying? Cold as shit, because shit is actually hot. But you know, that's for another day, I guess.
Maybe because at some point it gets so cold that it freezes.
Yeah, maybe. But I guess colder than a witch's titty is probably
Yep.
a better way.
Yep.
But yeah, Stromer sandwich sounds pretty good. And you know what? I feel like I might have had similar stuff to this. Um, you know, especially being in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it's like a chili cheese dog. Now I've done similar things with that where you know you put the chili all over the hot dog and you throw the onion and the cheese and everything on it. So yeah, I like a chili cheese dog. So I'm kind of curious to know if it's really similar to that, more of like a hamburger with chili on it. You know?
I mean, I love a hamburger with chili on it. So I have had that before. It's delicious.
Yeah. So and I bet you the Polish sausage with the chili all over it probably tastes pretty good too. I bet you that's a little bit of a different flavor though, because when you think of chili, you think of like hearty. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when you think of Polish sausage, I think of like sausage with some onions, like you know, fried onions, like um, what the hell are those other things? Um, not a punchki, a pierogi.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I think this Stromer sandwich just sounds freaking delicious.
I'm with you. I really am.
So, oh, you know what? I just saw one of the other things that made me realize how other states do like why the hell would you do that? And I think that it's the same thing where it's and it goes along with the Stromer sandwich thing. It's the cinnamon rolls and chili.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before.
Yep. And that's another Midwestern thing.
Yeah, the chili and cinnamon roll. So
Mm-hmm.
just whatever.
While we're on like subsets of things we've talked about, um,
Yeah.
so we talked about square pizza before and the pizzas that served up in like tiny square shapes, right?
Yeah.
So in Nebraska, they have an Omaha style pizza,
I did see that.
which is about the same. Now, I will say on this, a little interesting is the crust that somehow they make it almost buttery biscuit like, which I can get behind. They serve it in a rectangle, they cut it into squares, but their most popular combination here is a layer of ground beef topped with onions and mushrooms, um, which I kind of thought was a little interesting. And apparently, they don't put a whole lot of tomato sauce on there. It's supposed to be like thin and bright, hidden between the crust and the meat. So you're not looking like a whole lot of sauce on a pizza like this, but a little bit interesting, you know?
I mean, I don't think you have to worry about too much sauce.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I'm thinking Brooklyn style pizza, yeah, there's probably going to be some sauce on it because you're going to be able to fold it. But I don't think you really have to say like that it's got to have that much sauce on it to be better. You can have light sauce and still be good.
Right.
I feel like it almost brings out the onions and the beef and everything better.
Hmm.
You know, because now you're not just tasting the tomatoes, you're tasting the other ingredients on that pizza.
Right.
And I mean, it's in a square too, so that makes that a little bit easier. Because then, you know, it's probably easier to cook too. I like how all of these states that we've been talking through have been having their own pizza.
Yep.
You know, like we haven't gotten to New York yet, but obviously Brooklyn style pizza. You can even say East Coast pizza to be honest with you. But then they've got the California. They've got this Nebraska Omaha style pizza. What was the other one that we had? Wasn't there one in Kentucky or something that had their own pizza too?
Yes. And California had their own twist, which was wrong.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I remember that one. So it's kind of funny how all these states have kind of taken that food and made it their own.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's cut in a circle, in a square, but it's like, hey, here's some of our pizza. Give it a try.
Pizza.
So I've also seen another one too that it's not a Nebraska, well, it is a Nebraska one, but it's a cheeseburger pizza. And I guess someone in Nebraska was like, "Hey, let's have this brilliant idea of taking a cheeseburger and a pizza and put that stuff together."
Yes.
I have had that before, and to be honest with you, it's a really good pizza. I would eat it again.
Yeah, it's a good pizza. Is it my favorite? No. But
True.
but it's not one of the ones that's like, dude, I'm not gonna eat that, you know?
I almost feel like putting a little bit of some ranch on it, and you're fine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And dip it into some ranch or some buffalo sauce or something.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a little spicy. But yeah, if that was my if that was the only thing to eat, I wouldn't be like, oh god, I'm not gonna have some cheeseburger pizza.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't be a dickhead like that. But I definitely would say, all right, well, if there's meat lovers or if there's something else, I'll eat that first and then come back to the cheeseburger one.
Mm-hmm.
But I almost remember like my middle school having cheeseburger pizza day, and I
I
feel
re-
like they used the leftover meat from the night before or the day before and just said, okay, we need to get rid of this. Let's put some shit on a pizza dough and just make it pizza.
yep. I remember having that in school as well.
All right, good. I wasn't the only one that
No.
thought about that stuff then. Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, I feel like that recipe though, you know, as a kid, there's a couple of those things that you're going, oh man, I totally remember in high school or middle school that this was great. But I think if I ate that stuff now, it would just look like garbage.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You
For
know,
sure.
your mind has its own little thing as a young kid going, man, this was great. And then you get older and you're like, this looks like shit.
Yep. Yep. And sometimes it's the opposite, you know? Like, so there was one thing, like it was ham and beans over cornbread, right?
Okay.
And it was like a light colored bean sauce. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I never cared for it. And then like a month ago, I was like, you know what I want? I want some ham and beans over cornbread. So yeah, like some things just come around on you and some things you just can't go back to. You know, maybe Kool-Aid is one of those things. Maybe we loved it so much as a child that we hated it as adults.
Yeah, but as an adult, you can put vodka in it and or moonshine and you can
I
not
was
worry about that
just gonna
shit.
go on a tangent of being like, I don't even think I've had Kool-Aid unless it's been in jungle juice.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while since I've had Kool-Aid. That's
Yeah,
right. It hasn't had alcohol in it.
yeah, yeah.
So maybe you should go down to that grocery store when you go grocery shopping, pick up yourself that 50-cent bag and just make it and see if it tastes like it did in your childhood.
Yeah.
Well, I know that there's another thing that I want to talk about, and I'm not the cheese connoisseur like my wife is. I mean, you put a plate full of cheese in front of her, and she's happier than a cow and pig and
Mhm.
shit. But they do this stuff in Nebraska that I think I would have to try if I saw it on the menu, even if it was an appetizer.
Yep.
And it's called the cheese Frenchie. And essentially, what you do is you take a deep fried grilled cheese sandwich and you throw that on a plate with some French fries. And I feel like it seals in all the cheese, and then you cut it open or you just bite into it, and you get all the crunchiness of that fried dough-ish whatever with that hot cheese in the middle. And I think that it would rock your world
Yeah.
because
It's like
Nebraska. Yeah, go ahead.
one of my favorite appetizers to get is like the pepper jack cheese cubes.
Ooh, okay.
And dude, that's just like you added a couple extra steps to it, and I'm all for every step you added. You know?
And you know what? Because it's Nebraska and they have all their cows and dairy farms, because I think we got to talk about some ice cream in a second, but
Yep.
they definitely have the cheese and the variety of cheeses to make it, hey, here's some Gouda, here's some cheddar, here's whatever, and then make those grilled cheeses, variety of flavors to go, damn, which one is it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Or you
wonder
could
how
do an
hard it is.
appetizer of that, you know? You do
Yeah.
like a Midwestern charcuterie board of nothing but different deep fried grilled cheeses.
I mean, I'm sure there would be plenty of people lined up to eat that.
Yep.
If you had a charcuterie board with deep fried cheese and some salami and
Yep.
some grapes and shit like that. I think Nebraska, I think you're onto something. I think they need to come up with that
Mm-hmm.
as like a deep fried cheese or a Frenchie, whatever you want to call it, into that charcuterie board.
Yep.
So I'll make sure that if I ever go to Nebraska with my wife, I'm gonna have to find this place that serves them and say, here, eat all this stuff for a couple days, and just hope you don't get backed up, and then we'll
Yep.
leave.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong on that, bud. You were not wrong on that.
Yeah. So I think there's a couple mentionables I feel like we should have before we get into some other things, and we've kind of talked about Rocky Mountain oysters
Yep.
before, and I think Nebraska is one of those states that has that.
Mm-hmm.
Along with some of the other Midwest states we've already talked about, I think the ribeye
The
or
ribeye.
the steaks, because Omaha steaks, those
Yep.
guys are expensive as hell, but they have some good stuff. Um, and we've kind of talked about steaks in other states as well, and I think once we get to Texas, we probably can talk a little bit more about that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Ribs, I think we've kind of mentioned that one before. So those notables, just know, Nebraska, we have already kind of gone over some of these things, and we're not knocking them. We just know that we don't want to overplay those same menu items we've kind of already gone over.
Right.
And one of the ones I want to particularly mention, and I think we might get a little bit more into it, and we've kind of talked about it before, is the Reuben sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was invented by a guy named Reuben in Nebraska. I think it was Hastings, Nebraska. And the legend went that he was at this place and he said, "Hey, I want you to put this corned beef and here's some sauerkraut and some dressing. Put it all together. Boom, you got yourself a Reuben." And the guy just started selling it at his place. So I have to say it's one of my favorite sandwiches if I'm looking at a deli. And there's this local place where I'm at that actually has the dirty Reuben, uh, and it's basically a Reuben. There's nothing real different besides the rye bread that they put it on. And again, I feel like we just have to mention that to say, Nebraska, good on you for having this stuff, but I don't think we need to go into super much detail
Right.
about some of these other things.
And another thing is they call it a runza out there.
Okay, yeah, I saw that
Yeah, and
in my
we've talked
thing.
about things like this before. It's like a meat pie with homemade cabbage and beef in it. It's it's good. Um, Raisin pie we've talked about before. Pork tenderloin sandwiches, which is a phenomenal sandwich that I absolutely love. But I think our next two things are going to be what we end this episode on, and I think they deserve a little more talking about as well.
Yeah.
So I actually pulled up the history of one of them, and then I got an exclamation on what the other one is. Um, so apparently, there's an ice cream that is known as butter brickle. Have you ever seen butter brickle ice cream before?
I have not, but it's from Turkey Hill, so I mean that's kind of where I grew up. That's what people would get is
Okay.
Turkey Hill ice cream. Because you come down to where I'm at now in Texas, everything's got to be Bluebell,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Or what the hell is the other one? Tillamook. People look at that one too. But you go into Pennsylvania where I grew up, it's all Turkey Hill. So yes, I've
Mm-hmm.
heard of it, but I've never tasted it before.
So it was butter brickle is a type of cookie. First of all, it's actually like a chocolate coated toffee. Um, is kind of like the flavor profile of it, and somehow they figured out how to grind that up and put it into ice cream, which I'm a big fan of. And so you're looking at a caramel toffee style ice cream that is famous throughout Nebraska.
Okay.
So I like caramel. I like toffee. I can't really say anything bad about that. Um, and then the last thing I found is now there's a little bit of debating on this one because in doing some research, there's rumors that it was invented 10 years beforehand in a different state. However, most of the articles I had seen place this being made by a pharmacist in Potter, Nebraska, who opened an ice cream shop in 1916, and the pharmacist's son created a special ice cream sundae. Um, and it had vanilla ice cream, chocolate ice cream, marshmallow sauce, and Spanish peanuts.
Ooh, okay.
So if I put all of those together, do you know what that is?
It's the Tin Roof Sunday.
Yep.
I actually happened to see that in my little research as well.
Yep. So nowadays they got rid of the chocolate ice cream and replaced it with fudge and fudge swirl. But if yeah, the Tin Roof Sunday. Some say it's because the building that the sundry was in had a tin roof. Others say it got its name from a barn across the street. But either way, this was picked up by several manufacturers, just like Bluebell and Turkey Hill that we managed. And they've kind of changed the recipe over the years a little bit. But if you want to have the original Tin Roof Sunday, Potter's Sundry Shop is still open. So, and you can get it just like how Harold made it.
Sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
See, whenever I go to like an ice cream place, I usually get a milkshake or usually get something along those lines. I don't usually get a sundae or scoop on like a waffle cone or anything like that. So if it's saying that this is exactly how it should be, eaten, then I would probably take it that way and go, okay, we'll give it a shot.
Right.
But I don't know if I'd be able to eat the whole thing, right? Like at least with milkshakes, I could put it down for a second. And if I want another drink, great. But with the sundae and everything, I feel like if you don't eat it in one sitting, it's just not going to taste right.
Well, yeah, but you also have a wife you could share it with. I'm just saying.
Yeah, she would be doing a lot of that. She would be eating the majority of it.
See? It works. So, but I think that ends everything I have. Do you have anything else to
Yeah,
add to
you know,
Nebraska?
I didn't see anything else that I felt like warranted to have that besides just some, normal stuff like beer and but yeah, I don't think there's anything else that we need to talk to you about for Nebraska.
Yeah, I
I
think we're
think
good.
I think we're good. I think we can move on to the next state.
Yep.
So, well, you want to take us out?
Yeah, I want to go and put myself in a cheese coma and be woken up by the sweet smell of Kool-Aid now. I don't know about all you other foodies. So let us know what your Kool-Aid type is, and do you think it would hold up to today's standards if you still get Kool-Aid? But for this episode, I have been your host, the Meat Viking, with my wonderful co-host.
Professor Porkloin.
We'll see you in the next one.
We'll see you in the next one.